Welcome to this new edition of the Boundary Breakers Collective Talk Show. I'm Helena de I'm your host, and I am so happy to have here with me today Victoria Amiya. She's an international feminine leadership and embodied intimacy teacher, guiding women into a full life of epic connection, self-empowerment, and balance. Her expertise comes from years of embodied relationship training, client work with individual women, groups, retreat leading, and her own lifelong feminine embodiment journey. Victoria, welcome. I am so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you so much, Helena. I'm so pleased to be here as well.
It's amazing. We had some conversations before. Actually, we connected in a very funny way. We met on a terraza in Malaga, didn't we? Because we both live in Malaga. I'm Belgian. You are
Lithuanian.
Lithuanian. Yes. As such, that's already something that not everybody does. Just leaving your country, moving to another country where you actually don't really know a lot of people, you don't know culture or legislation or whatever. So that's already a boundary that we are breaking in terms of should we do that? Is that what we are supposed to do? However, you are breaking a lot more boundaries than that. You are somebody who is bringing topics to the table that are a little bit taboo, right? So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, absolutely. I love the boundary breaking. I don't believe I have always been that way. I try to fit in and live the life that we're almost expected to live in the way that we're expected to live it. But yes, little by little, my own experience in life, my changing of the country where I lived twice, I actually ended up studying topics that are very much taboo, as you say: menopause, sexuality, intimacy, relationship, our connection as women to our bodies. We are not taught any of this in school, and anything that we learn a lot of the times are through magazines. Most of those articles that we read actually do not speak the truth. They are just made up statistics that do not speak to the energy, the feminine energy that we actually hold inside. So there has been, and still, I still do a lot of boundary breaking, and I got used to seeing these big eyes of women or a relief in their faces and their expressions when they're like, oh, finally, I can speak to someone about this.
Yeah.
And I feel
How
like we
was
need
it
to
for
form more of
you?
this.
Yeah, how was it for you, Victoria, to break that boundary? Because it takes courage, it takes guts to do that. So why? What was your driver there?
My driver was the life that I was living. So I was living in England, in London, for 14 years. A very ambitious 18-year-old moved there to study and work and had an incredible career, but was working and living through her masculine energy. So I was pushing, striving, climbing the career ladder, and trying to fit in every way that I can in order to be recognized and respected. What
Mm-hmm.
I didn't recognize and realize is that I was completely being disconnected from my own body, that I was not able to form relationships with people close to me, and I knew nothing about myself at all. So all of this boundary breaking came when I looked at my life, which, if you looked at it from the outside, it was perfect. I have a house, I have an amazing career, I have a wonderful partner, I have all of these things that all of us dream about, basically, but I was not feeling fulfilled. And I thought there is something there that I'm not connecting to. And that was myself. That was my fulfillment. That was my energy to my feminine, to my body, to understanding what actually makes me happy in life. And that is not money and career and ambition. It is wonderful to have, but if you're losing yourself in the process, then there is a disconnect. So I went from hustle to harmony, trying to change the way that I live.
Yeah.
I changed my life in order to live in a country which I enjoy, which feels like a holiday every day. I ended up doing a job which nourishes me every single day. So now the way that I live my life is that everything around me supports me, my fulfillment, and my body, and not the other way around. I'm not trying to fit in any boxes anymore.
Yeah. I love that. And that so resonates with me. And it's also, I recognize that it's not the same story but it's very similar. And I also see, and I'm sure that you see also, the women that you work with, they are very often stuck in that kind of story, especially in what is expected from them. And we always try to blame social media and the media and governments and maybe your upbringing or partners, or but there's a lot of should have and could have and must have in ourselves. There's a lot of, I would say, kind of identity ruptures and crises that we have, not understanding who we really are and what it is really that makes us thrive and how we can contribute, how we can be relevant in the world. And we try to chase that career and the money that goes with it and the cars and the clothes and everything that is external for for other people to see and to notice. And nobody sees the poverty sometimes we have in our heart and in our soul. And it's making that shift that is a very bold and courageous action. Because a lot of people, I already hear them thinking, listening to us, is, yeah, but we can't do that. It's impossible. We would never be able to do that. Or maybe in 10 years, yes, maybe then when this happens, then I can. And I don't know how you think about that, Victoria, but I think that's also another excuse or lie that we tell ourselves.
It is, and it's highly based on the conditioning that we have and the fears that we have around it. Because at the end of the day, the jobs that we do provide a certain level of security, or at least that's what we think. So we imagine that if we are going to leave the job and the life that we have been building so hard for so many years, then what's waiting on the other side? And that uncertainty, that not knowing, is frightening. And we do not often want to face the fears. We do not face the uncertainty, and not knowing is one of the biggest things that are stopping us from doing what we truly love. So
Exactly.
taking, as you say, that step, that courageous step of saying, I have no idea what's waiting for me on the other side. That's what happened with me when I came to Spain and I left my career in London. Everyone looked at
Mm.
me and said, I applaud you, Victoria. You're very brave, but are you going crazy?
Exactly.
Even my own
That's the word
family was like,
I heard several times in my life. Yeah.
exactly. Even the family, it took them a while to accept the decision that I was making and not think, oh my goodness, Victoria really is doing something crazy. But that fear, that uncertainty can also be a driver, it can also be a motivator.
So one of the things that I have realized that the biggest supporter in this journey for you is going to be trust. Trusting the universe that it will support you, trusting that whatever situations are happening in your life will be in support of you, trusting that you will meet people that would encourage you, motivate you, and also support you in this journey. So really taking that courageous step forward is the only thing you need to do. Take a leap and trust that you will be held.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I see a lot of women, especially at the higher levels, entrepreneurs, executives, they're so used to know, to have all the answers, to make the decisions, to make the choices in their organizations, in their life, that they feel like that if they don't know and if they need to or they want to make a decision without knowing, without having all the details, it's like blocking them because this is not how they have been organized as professionals, but even not also in their personal life. And not knowing is creating this fear, which is a little bit funny because if you, like you say, if you trust your inner wisdom, if you trust your instinct, if you trust that the universe is organizing itself around your what you want to manifest, then it doesn't matter if you don't know yet, because that's the thing. You don't know yet because you're there to experience and to experiment and to fail forward. It is also about we and our idea around failure, that we cannot do that, that we will be judged. And most of all, probably by ourselves, because we are our worst
Just
critics.
absolutely.
Yeah. So this is something in terms of mindset and looking at things that if we can only redirect that a little bit, that a lot of women would be able to make different choices. I'm not saying that they all would pack their bags and move to Spain or another country, but at least they would make decisions in a different way and they would focus on different things Because what is also my experience is that when we want to self-actualize, when we want to achieve things, and I'm not talking about the typical masculine goals in the competition energy, but that we also are very modest in terms of how we look at what we can, in terms of developing our vision on who we want to be. And it's like we only put our goals or ambitions or actualization dreams at a level where we already can see how we are going to do it. And then I say, no, just don't think about the how. Think about the what and the why. And then the how will just develop in the process as a journey. And I would say it's a very nice thing to do with women. And it's also a very nice thing to do for yourself, to just make that big picture, that big vision, and be very much aware of your why. And don't think about the how. Don't limit yourself because we don't know yet how we are going to get there. How does that, do I make sense?
You make perfect sense, and you're expressing it so perfectly as well. I think we as women tend to be, as you say, more humble, but also more afraid to ask for the things that we need, more afraid to think big. Even if you take a normal, simple corporate environment, it's statistically proven that men will ask for a raise a lot more often than women will. And they will come there and they will say, I need a raise because of this and that. And women, they need to build a case, they need to build a courage to be able to stand up for themselves and say, I deserve a raise. So thinking big, as you say, I think this is one of the key things. And that's why I find the feminine and masculine energetics so fascinating, because we as women have lost the power with our intuition, with our feminine side and the intuition. So thinking big, releasing the attachment to how this will happen, and trusting our intuition to lead it is really the key. And an important aspect, and where I find a lot of the clients that I work with get mixed up between the feminine and the masculine energy, is that we don't have to leave the masculine. We possess feminine, masculine energies, and it's very important that we continue to have masculine energy within us. It's about the balance. And because the society right now is off balance, because we are less connected to our feminine energy, especially women who really need it to nourish them, that's what we need to start looking for, this balance and the harmony in the workplace, in our relationships, within ourselves, and use these tools of the feminine to our advantage. And one of the biggest tools of the feminine is being able to receive, being able to think expansively, being able to use your intuition to lead you forward. So, yeah.
I love that. When I started my career, I started my own business when I was 25, and I had a lot of masculine energy. And actually, for 10, 15 years, that was basically what I was relying on, because this was what I thought I needed in order to. I was very ambitious. I was impatient. I wanted to manifest myself. I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to prove that you can do this as a woman. And I forgot in the process that there were a lot of elements that I did not use, that I did not nurture, that I did not state with myself. And I lost myself at a certain moment, and I paid a big price in many ways. It took me several years in order to understand, like, okay, this is a way. And I'm not going to say it is dysfunctional, because in many aspects it was successful. And you have a lot of external validation, and people look at you and they see the car you drive and they see what you do and where you go. And yet I felt very empty. It took me 15 years in order to understand that this was not how I wanted to live my life. And it also took me a while to believe that doing it differently would also be successful, because that also is a belief system. Like, you can do it another way and it will also be successful, but it will be success defined on my own terms, not on the terms of everybody else. You also have been in corporate life. You probably also have that kind of experience. And I'm sure that a lot of people watching and listening to this have this experience. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It is about becoming aware and also know that there are different ways that are way more fulfilling, and that also way more holistic, integrating every aspect, every role that we have in life. Because now it's like this duality of the professional woman and yeah, how would you define it? I would say that the family woman, but there again, there's no integration, there's no harmony, there's no balance. We are so many things, and it is possible to integrate everything and live a
100%.
life that is like, for me, I don't know how it is for you, Victoria, but I mean, I'm not working. I am here with a vision and a mission, and I'm just manifesting that vision. And there's no week or weekend or holidays. I know that people need a structure like that, especially if there are children or in different situations, but it's not like determining our lives. And that's a completely different energy, which is absolutely not depleting. Yeah.
Exactly. It's nourishing instead of depleting. Exactly. There's
Exactly.
so many women think that it's either or. You have to choose. Either you're this person, the professional, career-driven woman, or you're living in the mountains and like we chose to do, gardening and doing all these kind of things. But that is not true. If a woman is really nourished by her work, she can continue to be a fantastic CEO, but leading from her feminine energy. It doesn't mean that a woman is no longer independent or she's not able to be a director, a CEO, lead a company, have her own business. She absolutely can. But using her body, her hormones, her cycles all to her advantage. This simplest example of how men and women are different and how we are taught to be in the masculine energy type of world is that a man goes through his cycle, the one that we use 28 days to go through, in one day. So for a man, they go through all that we go in 28 days, they go in one day. And when we are putting so much pressure on ourselves to perform every day, to be productive every day, to be disciplined every day, and we do not allow our bodies to rest and be nourished or even communicate with people in a different way, on the days when our body is asking for us to do this, we're losing. I remember last few years before I completely broke off my relationship with the corporate world in London. I was a director at a company and I had many people working for me in my team, and they realized, they noticed how I have been changing. They noticed my communication to them. I was no longer demanding and talking about contracts and fulfilled or unfulfilled expectations and being incredibly strict. Rather, I was investing in my communication with them, in my time with them, and nourishing them as people, allowing them to grow. And so they were performing better in the company. So once again, using your feminine can be a huge advantage instead of thinking that I'll be weaker or I'll be seen as weaker. We use it as our strength.
Yeah.
How does that resonate to you? How?
Yeah. I'm just thinking how powerful and important it is for anybody who is listening here and says, I'm in corporate and I like to be in corporate and I feel that I have my mission there. And yet I do feel exhausted. Sometimes I do feel depleted. I do not know how to be present in an authentic way. And when I hear you, I feel like you can also help these people. I guess you're also working with corporates in order to open the space for this feminine leadership in its full glory, if I can say it like that. So how can women executives lean into that more? What would be your advice or what would be a first step?
I think the biggest mistake that I made when I was going through this journey is thinking I can do everything by myself and on my own. I can study everything. So I went into studying from nutrition to menopause to tantra to a lot of different things that were helping me. But it took me a long time to make this change. Instead of actually investing in someone who can help me through this journey, without a shadow of a doubt, this is what I would do going forward. And that was my biggest mistake of wasting so many years not actually making a change, but trying to collect knowledge and seeing how I can apply it to my life. So what I would encourage women to do is, first of all, look for support. It could be support groups. It could be a coach, it could be a mentor who would help you through this transition. And yes, I do work with women in corporate world around this. And I teach them how to listen to the body, how to adapt their working environment if they're really enjoying it to their benefit, to their advantage. How to reduce stress, reduce anxiety, from how to nourish their bodies and be active, to the communication that they can use in order to have the team support them whilst they're being in their feminine.
Yeah.
So there are so many different ways, but I think the biggest one that I have learned is seeking support.
Yeah.
And not feeling like you have to do this on your own and you have to figure it out on your own. It is too much. We cannot take one more thing on our shoulders. We're carrying too much already.
Yeah, absolutely. This once again is how we tick, isn't it? Thinking that we have to do everything on our own. And I also have experienced the joy of communities and of support groups. And just like you, I also offer them because even if you offer them, you also need them for yourself. That's like, even if we are coaches, I don't know about you, I have 3 coaches myself.
Yes.
Because we also need people to support and sponsor. Everybody does. And it's funny how people sometimes feel like this is depending on the country we live in, this is like a sign of weakness. While the best sport teams have coaches, the best CEOs have coaches. This is basically one of the ways in order to explore and to experiment and to brainstorm and to also have somebody who is sponsoring you, who's showing your blind spots, because we all have blind spots. We all have things that we are not really aware of and that other people do see. And if you can work on that, if you can put your shadow side in the spotlight, it is so important to have people supporting you. And if they are professionally trained for that, then it's even better. Although, like you say, the importance of a community of like-minded women who share their stories in this atmosphere of vulnerability and sponsorship is also extremely important. Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Exactly. And I love that you do what you do, helping women connect and gather in these communities where they're given permission to be vulnerable and they're given permission to take off the mask that perhaps they're using in their corporate world. And that's huge for all of us.
It
Because
is.
only connecting heart to heart and we can know the stories of other women and realize how similar we all are and how much we can support each other.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's also why we have these boundary breakers talk shows, because these are you and the other people, the other women in the other episodes are like the living examples of breaking boundaries and how you can do it and how it is. It's not that scary and it's not that difficult. It just takes courage and it takes a vision. And it takes, like you say, building the relationships with people that have your back and that are like-minded. And I'm not saying that we should separate from anybody that is not sharing our vision or asks us if we are crazy or what. It is about how they impact you, how you allow people to impact you in your decision-making process. And that is something that we do way too much. We are not really selective on who we are really listening to. And then our inner voice is the one that is silenced most of all, rather than the voices of other people who are not necessarily talking in our best interest.
Exactly. I think it's very important to start filtering that. And once again, the intuition that we as women have would help us do that.
Yeah.
We can feel right away in a few seconds where we have a genuine, honest connection with someone and where perhaps it's based on ego, evaluation, judgment, or anything along these lines.
Yeah.
When talking about these breaking the boundaries, it's stepping out of the comfort zone. I intend to do this every single day. If I have a fear, I have a fear of heights, but I'm signing up to go and climb the walls. Why? Because I want to expand myself. I think this has been, once again, one of the biggest things that helped me to move my life forward in a direction where I really dreamt of having and living, is just expanding a bit more. And even if it feels scary or if it sounds a little strange or something I have never tried before, I'm like, I'm not sure I would like it, I'll give it a try. If I don't like it, that's okay. And if I
Yeah,
do, that expanded me so much. And maybe that
exactly.
led me to some other step that I could take. And one step at a time, just being out of your comfort zone has really helped me to expand and face my fears with a lot more courage.
Yeah. Exactly. It is contributing to building your confidence and it's contributing to building your resilience. And those are two things that we absolutely need if we want to thrive and if we want to do the big things, because it's what you say. If you have your comfort zone here, the magic is there. The magic is not in your comfort zone. And I see people staying in that comfort zone, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it hurts, but it's a comfort zone because they know it. And they prefer to stay in an uncomfortable comfort zone, which is a very strange combination. But as a concept, I think that everybody understands just because of the fear of experimenting. And to me also, I look at people on how they evolve and how they develop. And next year I will be 60. And in the eyes of many people, and so I'm always looking around me. And when I see people, I see how they are in life. And what I love at, for example, in the American and the Canadian culture, that is that you see women and men, 75, sometimes 80, starting a new business. I think that's amazing. That's wonderful because I do believe that we can contribute at any age, that we have value at any age. It's not because the system is deciding that at 65 or 67 you go in retirement that you cannot add value anymore. So I love that. And I always look like, okay, what are these people doing and how have they led their lives? And basically, these are people that have taken risks in life. And so this is something like you, I intentionally do things where I say, I'm not sure, and I'm going to do it anyway. And I remember when I bought this place, that's 14 years ago, and the first times I came here, there have been moments where I thought, what have you done? Why didn't you just buy a nice apartment somewhere in an urbanization where everything is set, where you open the grifo, the water is there, where there's never electricity breakdowns or whatever, where you don't have to go to if you have a steep dirt track to your place. When you look there, it's very deep. And I said, no, this is exactly what I need to do. This is like you say, it's expanding, it's learning. I think if you stop learning, you die a little bit. And it is not only learning in the books or what we do now, Google it or YouTube it or ChatGPT it. It is learning, it's having experiences in life. It's about doing things, it's about being curious. I have one of the first episodes of the Boundary Breakers was with Kimberly Jurgen about curiosity, and she is a radical curiosity coach. And it is about being curious. Hey, how does that work? Hey, why can I not try it this way and this way? So it is all about this alertness in your mind, but not in the ego mind, and having the experiments and the experiences. And also, like we already mentioned, it's about receiving. And I think experiences are also something that we can receive and say yes, because receiving is saying yes. And so this is something those are these little things that we can shift in our lives. And we can, like I said, we don't have to move countries in order to break boundaries. We can just start asking ourselves, why am I doing this? I'm doing this for years. Why?
Mhm.
Sometimes there's no reason or it doesn't surface anymore. But if we change, we have a partner looking at us like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Because a lot of the restrictions, if I can call them like that, come from people that get in an uncomfortable feeling, thinking like, okay, she's going to change, then things are going to change for me as well. So let's
Mhm.
try to block that. This is
And
something
they
that I
usually do.
experience myself. I see with my coaching clients, if they come here for a retreat, sometimes they come here feeling guilty because they had a partner not really supporting their decision, only to come on a 5-day retreat. And
Mhm.
even asking, so will you come back the same woman?
I
And
hope
I said,
not.
probably not. Let's make sure you're not. But that's creating discomfort in the people that live with us or work with us. And so that's why we have these questions like, are you crazy? Or do you know what you're doing? And these questions are not your process. It's the process of the ones asking the questions or giving that remarks or that criticism. So this is a very important thing also to keep in mind.
Exactly, exactly. And I think retreats and expanding yourself, working with coaches and mentors should always be about transformation, because otherwise,
Exactly.
what's the point? If you want to continue living the life that you're living in the way that you're living and not be happy, then you might as well not go to a retreat. And but if you
Exactly.
do and your partner is worried, as you say, like that's a reflection onto the partner. And who knows, sometimes things do grow apart and couples do grow apart, and there are ways to come back together. And sometimes it's also not possible. But it's all about your journey in this lifetime and to be supported in your fullest with a partner next to you, without a partner next to you, family, no family, whatever situation you choose for your life here. But
Yeah.
transformation and growth and expansion should always be on the horizon. And when you
Absolutely.
mention these Canadian people at 75 or whatever starting their businesses, is because they lived it. They've tried everything. They know exactly what they enjoy doing. So they will not be doing a business just for the sake of money. They'll be doing something that they truly enjoy and love. So why not invest and make that transformation earlier and not wait for 75?
Yeah.
So that you can start doing your business or whatever you want to do in your 50s, in
Yeah.
your 60s.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. And you know what? Another thing that we don't think of too often is that we are role models. If we do, that's also showing our children that they have the possibility to do that. Because whether we want it or not, we are role models. Our children are looking at us, our teams are looking at us. And so if you do this transformational whatever it is for you, because it is different for everybody, if you do that, you will be a role model for your children. You will show them that it is okay to move in a direction that is not like the standard direction. You will educate more confidence and experimental mindset in your children. And that is also a very important thing to do. If you are connected with your body, then your daughters will be more connected with their body because you will be able to talk about it. You will have the vocabulary, you will have the wisdom, and you can share that also with the people around you. So there's a ripple effect that we cannot underestimate. And coming to that, Victoria, I would like to invite everybody listening or watching this, and if it resonates, just connect with us on LinkedIn or on whatever other platform. But also, Victoria, I believe that in September you are organizing a program for women. You're launching a new program. So maybe tell us a little bit more about that, because if you feel what we are talking about today is opening things for you, then this program might be a very good first step. So tell us a little bit more about that, Victoria.
A really beautiful thing that I want to share is that the September program is full. And I'm very excited about that. And what I have is a hormone code, a new program for women to help through big transitions in their life. And this is a one-on-one program, which can be, of course, the start date can be adapted, but it's for women that are going through these transitions who are looking to find that balance between their professional life, their personal life, to reduce stress, reduce anxiety, and all of the things that come with perimenopause, menopause, or any big transitions really in their lives. So I would really encourage, if this is resonating, if these topics resonate, you're ready to expand, you're ready to grow, to get in contact, and we can always chat and connect and see what it is that you desire to achieve in life and how I can help.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. I'll make sure that all the information is in the comment box of wherever you are listening or watching this episode. Another thing that I want to bring is, and this is news from my side, is that I am finishing my book is called It's Your Turn. And this is basically also a manifesto for women to show up, to rise, to thrive, and not only for themselves, but for the greater good. And it will be documented with interviews, you will also have a lot of possibilities to embody it with downloadables like practices, exercises, journaling prompts. What we talk about here is not only what we also do for ourselves, but also what we provide support for if you are looking to go deeper or if you want more. So there's a lot of possibilities, and that's why this is an open invitation to connect with us. And whenever you're ready, we are here, we have your back. And I really hope, Victoria, thank you so much for sharing, because I hope and I know, I trust that there was so much gold in this episode, that there was inspiration for you and encouragement to start digging a little bit deeper or expand a little bit more or try things. Even if you take baby steps, it doesn't matter. It's a journey. It's not a competition. And talk about this. Talk about this with us. Talk about this with people you trust. There's so many people around you that can support and sponsor you in your journey. So it would be a pity not to make the journey and not to involve other people. So thank you for being with us, for staying with us, and hope to see you again and hear from you soon with whatever you need. So comment here, connect directly, follow us, and be open. Thank you so much, Victoria. It was amazing again to have this connection and conversation with you. You rock. And thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. You do an amazing job for making this world a better place for a lot of people. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much, Helena. Thank you for doing what you're doing as well. Pleasure to be
You're
here.
so welcome. Bye for now.